Welcome back. Today we're diving into a narrative called Total Vindication. It's all about how a supposedly dismissed idea concerning Greenland was, according to the source, turned into a massive political win. So let's break down how this story gets put together.
So the source video kicks right off with this line. It's not some quiet, calm introduction, right? It's designed to be a jolt of energy, to make you feel like you've just tuned in to some huge, unexpected breakthrough that's happening right now.
Okay, so what is supposedly happening? And why is this being framed as a total vindication? Let's unpack the narrative from the source material, step by step, to see exactly how this story is constructed.
All right, so the whole thing kicks off at the World Economic Forum in Davos. According to the video, this is where the battle lines are drawn. You've got a Danish official publicly saying no way to any kind of Greenland deal, and the media, well, they just pile on, mocking the whole idea.
And in this telling, it's not just one or two people. No, it's the mainstream outlets, European officials. They're all presented as this one big, unified front just dismissing the deal. And it isn't framed as a simple disagreement, you know? It's presented as a constant pattern of negativity and propaganda.
And yeah, this chart really lays out the core conflict, doesn't it? On one side, you have the establishment position. Nope, impossible, he's crazy. But on the other side, according to the source, you've got Trump's position, kind of laughing it off, knowing he's got all the leverage, and ready to force the issue. It's a classic setup.
So, okay, that's the conflict, but how does the narrative justify pushing forward anyway? Well, this is where the source starts to explain why, in its view, American intervention wasn't just some random idea, but something that absolutely had to happen. And here's how they connect the dots. The video points back to this 2019 defense pledge from Denmark. We're talking over $200 million. But the claim is that years later, most of that money just sat there. No new capability on the ground. So the message is pretty clear, right? The nice way failed. Time for something else. And that something else is the key to the whole argument. Tariffs. The source says, round two, Trump comes in with frickin' tariffs. This is presented as the game changer. The threat of this big tariff wall they claim is what finally, boom, gets the job done. It's all about that economic muscle.
Okay, so you've got the setup, you've got the leverage, and now we get to the big reveal. This is the turning point in the story, the moment of victory, the so-called vindication moment that comes from a direct announcement.
And get this, the timing here is everything to the story. We're talking just hours after that big public rejection at Davos. Suddenly, a post goes up on Truth Social. The story presents this as a super fast turnaround, basically instant proof that all that initial media reporting was completely off base.
Now, what's so interesting is how this post is used in the narrative. It's not just an update. It's framed as the ultimate comeback. It says, hey, we had a productive meeting, we've got a deal framework, and because of that, I will not be imposing the tariffs. See how it directly links the two? The intended message is, the threat worked. And to make this all seem super official, the source then drops some big names. We're talking Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and a special envoy. These are the people who are supposedly going to finalize the deal. So it's presented not as some vague idea, but as something backed by the weight of these very high offices. Okay, so what's actually in this supposed deal? What are the terms? Well, the video breaks it down into 5 key components that it claims make up the framework. So here are the alleged terms, and they're definitely framed as a massive win. The source claims that while it's not an outright purchase, it gets all the key prizes: strategic land, access to valuable mineral rights, and, this is crucial, a permanent American presence. And that word forever is a really big deal in this narrative. The source just hammers this point home. They contrast it directly with the Iran nuclear deal from the Obama administration, which they call a temporary 9-year deal. The implication is obvious. This one is permanent, and therefore superior. And then there's this mysterious element, the Golden Dome. What is that? The source repeatedly calls it a very compelling part of the deal, but then gives zero details on what it actually is. It's a classic narrative tool, you know? It just leaves this intriguing piece of the puzzle hanging there for the audience to wonder about. All right, so let's zoom out. What's the ultimate takeaway from all this? The source pulls all these threads together to make a final, much broader point. It's not just about this one deal anymore. It's about a whole style of political strategy. The argument here is that this isn't just a one-off policy win. Instead, it's presented as proof of a predictable pattern. It's another case, in this telling, of overcoming the doubters and the propagandists. And this right here,
This is really the core thesis the source wants its audience to walk away with. It's the idea that if you see the media pushing super hard against something, telling you there's no way it can happen, well, that's actually a reliable sign that Trump is probably going to pull it off. So by framing the entire episode this way, from the initial mockery all the way to a swift and decisive victory, the source material presents the Greenland deal as more than just a geopolitical agreement. It becomes a carefully constructed story, with a clear hero, a clear set of antagonists, and a very clear lesson to be learned.